With 2 races already completed here in doubles competition, the FIL Luge World Cup from Sigulda, Latvia turns its attention to the singles competition. Tomorrow we've got men's singles along with the team relay, but now it's time for the women's singles competition, the 4th race of the year. Hi again everyone, I'm Tim Singer. Welcome to our ongoing live streaming coverage from Sigulda, Latvia. We're about a half-hour drive north, depending on the traffic, north of the city of Riga, as we take a look at one of the challenging tracks in the world. To tell us a little bit more about today's competition and this track in Sigulda, I'm pleased to introduce the Renaissance man from Italy. He's an athlete, he's a commentator, he's an executive on the board of the International Luge Federation. He is Leon Felderer. Leon, welcome.
Thank you, Tim. Thank you for having me. I'm super excited for the race.
We're great. We're excited to have you along. Now let's take a ride down from this lower start. You don't start here, you start higher on the
Yes,
course.
we start higher, but as you can see, the first 2 corners are not a lot of speed for the women's start, but they're very tricky and they can cost you a lot of time. And now here we're already into the high pressure corners, 11, 12, 13. You have to have a good entrance into 13 to make it out nice, into 14 to the long straightaway, before you get into the high famous pressure corner, 15. All the way through the finish curve Kreisel, which is also a lot of pressure on your body. So as you can see, we have a lot of high pressure corners here in this track, and that's what really makes it special.
Special track, special challenges, and unpredictable weather year in and year out here in Sigulda. Already today we've had snow and we've had sunshine, and we're expecting a lot over the course of the afternoon. Last year, Leon, one weekend it felt like summer, and the next weekend everyone stayed indoors, right?
Yeah, exactly, yeah. The weather changes really quickly here in Sigulda, and that's just another variable that you need to take into consideration here for this track and for setting up your sled and being ready to do well here in the race.
Meantime, as far as the history of this track, records were set earlier last season, actually, in the World Cup race. Merle Fraebel set the track record. Madeleine Egle, a start record. That was a couple of years ago, but Madeleine is certainly capable of doing that on any track. And I got to believe she's the favorite, at least dependent on the last 2 weeks' results, Leon, although the Austrians have had a love-hate relationship here with Sigulda.
Definitely, yeah. They showed some great speed. They have great speed, they have great equipment. But here in Sigulda, it's not their favorite track. It seems like they've been struggling a lot. But obviously, if they make it down, then they're always fast, and it's just a matter of getting it down, because that's quite challenging here in Sigulda, and especially in these ice conditions, it will be a big challenge for the ladies.
So far this season on the World Cup, Germany has captured 3 podium spots, all of them by Julia Taubitz. Austria, 5 podiums. Madeleine Egle with the 2 victories, Lisa Schulte with 3 podiums, and then the United States has 1 podium, a 2nd place in Lillehammer. There's 1 American, Ashley Farquharson. She was the top placing USA athlete last week in Oberhof. Natalie Maag, is that Natalie right there?
Yeah, should be.
Yep. And we're going to start things off with a Ukrainian athlete. Now the Italians, they've really been struggling in women's luge to contend for the podium. I know Sandra's been battling injuries. Of course, Andy moved to doubles. Mm-hmm. What's at work? What's it going to take to get back onto the podium?
Well, that's a good question. We've been struggling a bit with equipment, and it's just not that of an Italian year so far. But I think the ladies showed some great sliding so far, and they need some more experience, and I think we will then be ready for the Olympic Games at home. I hope so.
I was going to say, what it might take is a track in Cortina. That'll be a wonderful thing for everyone.
That should help.
Especially Italy. Okay, here is our first sled, 30 in today's race, and as you watch run number 1, bear in mind only the top 20 will qualify for a second heat. Here's Yulianna Tunytska from Ukraine, one of two competing from Ukraine today in women's singles. They usually have 3 in the race. She's 21 years old from the city of Kremenets, and she has been on the World Cup since she was 16.
Yulia is known for having a good start. The Ukrainians usually do quite well here in Sigulda, as they consider this track their home track. They have plenty of runs down this hill, and here we can already see how far back her head is, how confident she is on the sled, showing us great lines here.
Confidence is so important,
yes,
especially on the lower part of this track.
Yeah. Nice exit out of 14.
These are incredible lines.
That's a good run.
I'll say, she finished 5th yesterday in the Nations Cup, but that's as clean a run as we've seen all day.
Yep.
Of the 50 or so sleds that came down in the doubles competition.
Oh, that was a very good run. Very good showing here from the Ukrainian athlete. Nice exit out of 14. Oh, very good lines here.
And her body position with her head tucked way back.
Yep. That is just that shows how much confidence she has, and I think she has plenty of runs here down this hill. So that's definitely something that she can capitalize on.
Now the first from Austria. A couple of her teammates, in fact 3 of them, may all contend for the podium, but Dorothea Schwarz is number 4 on the depth chart. She had a podium finish the opening weekend in Lillehammer in the Nations Cup, finished 4th yesterday in that qualifying race. A little rough right there at the start.
A little rough, but I think yesterday was much worse for her at the first few corners, because you need to have a very good cut into the first corner to not skid a lot, and that, you know, you can lose so much time up there that you will never make back.
That's right.
She's already in the green, starting to picking up speed. Very nice line again.
19 years old.
Ooh.
Born in Innsbruck.
1600s, that's a big lead.
I'll say 116 kilometers an hour, that's 72 miles per hour to the finish line. A 41.813. As a point of comparison, that's about 35 hundredths off of the track record. Looked like she had trouble stopping the sled.
Yeah, just too fast, I guess.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, great position on the sled, super relaxed, super confident. Nice, here we can see the entrance going into 15, which is also very important because you have a lot of pressure in 15, and if you peak up too high, that can cause you then to come up at the end again, and you know you're gonna be over. It's
That's
that
right.
easy. It's that easy in 15. Before you know it, you're over.
Before you know it, we saw that several times in doubles.
Yes.
And a little earlier, I mentioned how Italy has been looking for podium positions, been searching very hard in women's luge without finding it. But they did find 2 podium spots yesterday, 2nd and 3rd in the Nations Cup qualifying race. 3rd place went to Sandra Robatscher.
Yeah,
29 years old.
Sandra really likes this track. I think she made a medal at the European Championships at some point here on this track.
Right.
So she's a big fan of this track, and you know, the ice conditions should play in favor of the Italian equipment. So let's see what she can do.
She has 1 World Cup victory. That was in Altenburg a number of years ago. As I mentioned earlier, Sandra's had a whole boatload of injuries over the years.
But once again, great lines here.
To the finish. This is a Finnish Kreisel. It's going to be interesting tomorrow in team relay. 41.776. In the early going, we're seeing some great runs, which is a display of how different doubles and singles luge can be on certain tracks.
Yes, definitely. Especially here with those short transitions between each corner. You need to be on point with the double sled, and you know it's so easy to have problems and you know just crash basically in this track on a double sled with the high center of gravity, and that's much safer and much easier to do on a single sled. But you know the girls, they show some great sliding. It's not easy, even though they make it look like easy. It's definitely not easy.
Here's Verena Hofer. Verena said at the beginning of the season that her results were, or her goals rather, were to knock off a few top 10 finishes, and she did just that in the last race in Oberhof with a 10th place result. She said afterwards she was very pleased with that.
Yeah, Verena has been having some consistent runs this year. Ooh, there's some troubles at the start. That's saddling, I think. She was a bit too much on the left side, which is not ideal to have a good cut in the start corner. And yeah, we can see that she's already behind a bit. Usually she's the fastest starter out of the two, out of Sandra and her. So we'll see if she can keep it close here.
Also looked like it took her a while to get her arms back in after that settle.
Yeah, it was not a ideal cut, so she needed to do a lot of steering in the first few corners, which is obviously not ideal. You don't want to have that to happen, but you know, mistakes happen, and you just need to make the best out of it. And that, I think that's what she did. Because the rest of the run, yeah, she's not too pleased. I think that was just the top of the run, which was not so good. I think the rest of the run was decent, but she definitely has something to improve then for the second run.
Here we see at the start. Hopefully, we'll get a look at that settle as well. No, unfortunately not. That's where the problem was.
But it's a great shot here, the transition into 13, which is so crucial to be right,
sure.
Because there's so much pressure in corner 13, and if you don't steer on the right point, then it's gonna send you right back up, and you're on your stomach going into 14.
1/10 of a second separates the two Italians who will be vying for a spot on the team relay tomorrow, along with the doubles teams, and probably you, Leon, in that team relay, right?
Yeah, I hope so.
Yes.
I'm definitely trying, you know.
Here's the perfect example of home cooking, because Kendija Aparjode is off to a real sluggish start, looking for her first top 10 result still this year. But Kendija had a podium last year here at home, and she won yesterday's Nations Cup race.
Yeah, yesterday she had a great run. The season has been not so good for her yet, but yeah, on home track, on home ice, she definitely knows how to drive here, and she's showing us already some great lines. Let's see if she can start to pick up some speed here.
300s behind Sandra here, entering curves 13-14.
And now in the green though. Ooh.
31.817. What did you pick up? I didn't see anything there.
No, she's picking up a lot of time. That's what I picked up.
Oh, okay. Yeah, she sure is.
She's fast. Oh, yeah. 1500s.
These are the Latvian sleds we were used to seeing all of last season, not just in Latvia.
Yep.
But the fast lower half of the track. The Austrians have inherited that distinction this year.
Yeah, they have. But they definitely know how to set up the sled here on home ice. I think they had plenty of training runs this year and also during the Christmas break. So they will definitely be on another ideal setup sled deck wise. And she always also slid, you know, perfect lines. Very relaxed on sled.
So Kendija Aparjode takes over the lead. That's not a surprise. She won pretty handily yesterday in Nations Cup. Now it will be interesting to see how well that holds up as we move into the seeded group. And first up, Anna Berreiter, the 25-year-old from Berchtesgaden, the Olympic silver medalist. Anna in 7th in the World Cup standings, just one top 5 result. She's also off to, by her own admission, a bit of a tough start this year.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely not the start to the season that she was hoping for.
4th fastest start time. Sandra Robatscher still has the quickest start.
bit late into 12, but that usually gives you a good transition into 13.
300s behind or ahead of the Latvian, but not surprisingly now falling behind. Aparjode was incredibly fast down here.
Yeah, she had an okay run, not as clean as the one from Kendija.
Second place, it's a half a mile an hour, just about a kilometer an hour slower than Aparjode. Speed traps don't tell the entire story in luge, but they give you an indication, and there's one right there.
Yeah, actually, this one is quite accurate here.
The speed translates, yeah.
Yeah,
okay.
the speed translates quite well to how you do at the bottom of the track here, which is surprising because usually it's a bit tricky because you could, you know, go into the trap with your feet and then have a little bit of a higher speed than what you actually had. But I think this one is quite accurate.
Hallo nach Hause. Liebe Grüße.
Kudos back home to her friends and family in Berchtesgaden. And now, not a country mate, but a teammate of Anna Berreiter, Natalie Maag, World Championship medalist, has been training alongside the Germans for basically her entire career. And Anna is the third of fourth in a row in today's race who admit they are off to a slow start this season and they want to improve their results.
She's keeping it close up top, just 100 behind Kendija.
Natalie has not put down good results in her career on this tough Sigulda track, but she's 0.08 of a second up on the Latvian at that last split time.
She just caught a little pressure out of 14, but she did a great job at correcting it. That was a good save, because that could have gone bad. But obviously she loses a lot of time because Kendija was just a textbook run from Kendija.
Sixth place, 3,300s in back of Kendija Aparjode. So right now it's Latvia, Germany, Italy. The top three, 7 have come down, 23 still yet to go.
Here we can see that she just caught a little pressure to the left side and she was not able to, correct it without hitting a wall. But she did a great job at just, one hit and then tap and go, basically. But it's still, it's too much in this level if you want to compete for, the podium positions.
First of the Americans getting ready at the top, who are in the seeded group. 3 of the 4 from the USA are part of the seeded lineup. This is Summer Britcher, a 5-time World Cup winner. Summer said earlier this season that she truly hopes that she and Sigulda are now finally friends. And that puts it pretty well. Right?
Many people hope that.
Her men's singles teammates cheering her at the top. Summer start time, the 5th fastest, 1.657.
Good line.
Failed to crack the top 10 in both World Cup races here last year. She's hanging on to a slim advantage. This is where the Latvian was incredibly fast.
Yep, that's where she's starting to go into the red.
Could be second place here. This is going to be second or third.
Looks like she's able to keep it close. Lines are okay, yeah.
Yeah, the third place, just 0.07 of a second out of second place. Still so many good sliders yet to go, but Summer seems somewhat pleased, and the lines would dictate that. It was good driving.
Yeah, that was good driving. There's not much more in there, run-wise, sliding-wise. Nice start, nice settle. Nice cut. You can see she was able to keep it quite low in the first corner, which is an indication that you did a good cut into the first corner and you did not skid too much.
Hi.
Latvia still looking for its first podium this season in women's singles luge. They have the lead with Kendija Aparjode, and they certainly have one of the pre-race favorites getting ready at the top. Elina, Bota. Last year, 2 races, a 2nd place and a 1st place. So far this year, no better than 9th. We expect improvement right now, Leon.
Yeah, we do. She had a great season last year. I think the whole Latvian team just struggled a bit this season so far, but it will definitely be much better here on home soil. And yeah, you know, they definitely know how to drive. They know where to go. They have so many runs down this track. It's just a matter of you know, getting it down, throwing it down on race day. And I think that's what she's doing right now, because she's picking up a lot of time.
This could be nearly 0.2 of a second, maybe even more. The advantage for Latvia as she finishes, actually losing some time to Kendija Aparjode down at the bottom. But Latvia 1-2, then Germany, USA, and Italy, the top 5. As 9 have come down, we're still very early even in the seeded group.
But yeah, the Latvians finally show us the potential that they have. It looked like they found a good setup for these conditions and their home track. Great lines, as we expect, of course, with all the runs they have. But you know that racing on home soil comes with a lot of pressure too, because you need your race is basically in front of family and friends.
That's right.
You always want to do well because they come out to watch you. And yeah, that can be a lot of pressure, and depending on how you look at it. But for some it will be a lot of pressure, for some it will be more of a good thing.
Very quietly, Ashley Farquharson has made her way up the World Cup ranks over the last couple of years and joined teammates Emily Sweeney and Summer Britcher among the best. And what intrigues me about Ashley is she's been able to do it on all tracks. She's had very good results on many different tracks, especially even here in Sigulda. Now that said, she's had some disappointing results on some of the tracks as well, as she looks to find consistency.
Yeah, she's still one of the younger stylists, I would say, so she's still building her experience. But as you said, she's having some troubles out of 15. But she was doing a good job correcting it. So she had a nice and early entrance into the Kreisel, which is very important, because if you go late into the Kreisel, that can be so much time, and that hurts because there's so much pressure catching you at one point, and your head's just going to be on the ice.
It hurt to the tune of about 15 hundredths. She was just 3 hundredths out of the lead before the last 2 curves, and then just a couple of taps, and she dropped a couple of spots, at least right now. She's in 5th place at the moment.
Here was still okay going into 15. Maybe peaked a bit too early, and then yeah, just came up a bit at the end, and then you get this weird pressure that sends you to the right wall. But she was able to keep it at the right wall, which is very important to do. So she
absolutely.
So she corrected it the right way.
The runners stayed in the right direction.
Yes.
That's the key.
Could have been a lot worse.
Melina Fischler up next now for Germany, the second of the Germans. 3 races this year, 15th, 10th, and 8th. So she's shown improvement from week to week. Still just 20 years old, far and away the youngest of the German women single sliders. And Leon, you know, with this team, when you are the youngest and putting in the worst results, you're always looking over your shoulder because someone's waiting in Oberhof, waiting to take your spot.
There's they have such a depth in their program, which is insane. You can't compare it to any other nation. So you always need to throw down. You need to be consistent in your performances. You need to have good results all the time, because otherwise you're gonna get replaced at some point. But she had big troubles in the start corner, which is just too much time that you lose there. So big hit. Yeah, that's just no way that you can make it up.
10th place finish, slower than all but the Ukrainian who went first, Tunytska, who had those beautiful lines, obviously not the speed.
start was just, yeah, they don't show the troubles that she had in the start corners. But yeah, she was just skidding all over the place. That is too much on that level. And here we can see her having a big hit before the finish line. That doesn't affect you here. It will though tomorrow, because the pad comes here very quickly, and if you will hit,
that's right,
you're gonna have troubles hitting the pad.
Nothing she'll need to worry about, but Elina hopes to at least be on the squad next week in Altenburg, which is her home track. Now the third of the 4 Germans, Merle Fraebel. No podium, but a 4th and a 5th place so far this year for Merle.
And a track record from last year, right?
Yeah, she finished 3rd in that race, the World Cup finale, and had a track record.
But she had kind of the same problems that Melina had. Also skidding at the first few corners, which is just not ideal, and it's going to be too much time that you lose there to make it up.
Merle with 1 World Cup victory, I believe that was on her home track in Oberhof.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but she's still very young.
The 21-year-old to the finish line, 3rd place time, a 41.684, just ahead of her teammate, Anna Berreiter.
You know, that's a decent time for that run, I have to say, because she definitely has some more time up there. Because the cut was not ideal, and she was skidding in the first few corners, and it can be a lot of time.
Is it a track you need to take chances on? Because we saw Tunytska had those beautiful lines, but she has the slowest time.
That's a good question.
All right,
I
think about it for a while.
I would say here it's a track where you kind of want to play it safe a little bit more, because it's so challenging to get down. So if you have a good line, usually you're already doing quite well. That's what my experience would say, but it looks like not. It looks like you need to push the limits a bit to be able to compete with the best in the world, because the ladies show us some incredible lines here right now.
Here's 31-year-old 2-time Olympian Emily Sweeney. She's still ranked pretty high in the World Cup standings, 5th overall with 1 podium. Emily missed the race in Oberhof with a neck injury. This is something that comes back and bites her from time to time. Some injuries stemming all the way back from her crash at the Olympics in 2018.
Yeah, she always has some troubles with her neck due to the injury that she had from the crash at the Olympics. But I think a little bit unsafe out of 40. She's been struggling with that for the whole week.
Emily finds a lot of time usually down at the bottom, but you're not going to get it with those foot taps and those corrections. So she's back in 7th place in a group of Americans that actually sit in 5th, 6th, and 7th right now. Britcher, Farquharson, and Sweeney, all of them separated by just 0.05 of a second, as they hope to make the relay squad tomorrow.
Yeah, just a bit of insecurity out of 14, and then she got a little pressure to the right and just dropped her feet. But she was able to, not mess up totally. So she will have another run to make it up and show what she's capable of doing, because Emily is one of the best ladders in the field for sure.
Here's been one of the breakout stars on the World Cup this year, 21-year-old Barbara Allmaier from Austria. Barbara won a couple of Nations Cup qualifying races this year, had a career best 4th place finish to open up the season in Lillehammer. This is her first full season on the World Cup, and she's currently in 6th in the overall standings.
Yeah, that's an incredible story. She definitely did not expect to end up in the 4th place at the first World Cup in Lillehammer, but it's always great to see new athletes coming up, bringing some new dynamics, competing for medals. It's always exciting to see. Oh, a little skid going into 11, so she, just a little bit off. but nice correction. That is one of the hardest things to do here because you go so quick from curve into curve. There's basically no room for doing
any mistake.
Yeah, any mistakes and correcting basically because
no chance to correct.
Yeah. Because
41.813, ninth place. We're about halfway through this field, and it's the Latvians leading the way, first and second place. But the next three getting ready to start are probably the three race favorites week in and week out. Maybe not in Latvia, but we've got Taubitz, Schulte, and Egle, who are the top three in the World Cup standings and have 8 of the 9 podiums this year. So sit back and get ready for this race to really unfold.
Yeah, now we will see what the times of the Latvians really mean.
Allmaier done, hoping to stay in the top 20, which we'll find out as this race moves along. But Yulianna Tunytska, the 4-time World Cup overall champion, now grabbing the handles, a medal of each color on the podiums for the first 3 races this year in Norway, Austria, and Germany. Not always the fastest at the start, but a decent start time for Yulia.
But she's already over a 10th behind here at the top on the split. So
right.
That, yeah, she's starting to pick up some time, but it will be close because the Latvians showed us some great speed at the bottom.
Well, the lines are perfect.
Yeah.
Now 600s.
Now she had a little trouble out of 15.
Didn't tap, but not a straight line. Looping a bit in the Kreisel. Back in second place, sandwiched in between Latvians Elina, Bota, and Kendija Aparjode. And the coaching staff, Leon, seemed pleased with that.
Yeah. Maybe she's been struggling a bit in the training week, but I think that the round was decent. It was just a small mistake out of 15. Just, let's see what she did. Yeah, maybe peaked a bit too early and then down and got back up again. So you get this weird pressure to the right ball. She was about to drop her feet, but yeah, somehow kept it together and did not, and just straight line into the Kreisel.
The World Cup leader, rain or shine, win or lose, one thing that's a guarantee is a smile from Julia.
And we love to see it, right?
Down at the finish. Now, Lisa Schulte, what a great year. When she won that World Championship last year in Altenburg, some people were surprised, and it certainly was a surprise. But all that did, Leon, was open the door to what has been really steady results ever since, including 3 races, 3 podiums this year for the Austrian.
Yeah, Lisa has been showing incredible sliding this year. She definitely did not expect to win the World Championship last year either, but it helped in her confidence. And this year she's just sliding on a different level than she was last year.
I believe she was the fastest yesterday in the seated training. For what it's worth, you never know exactly what kind of last-minute experimenting the athletes are doing.
It's always a bit tricky to look at the times in seated training because you never know if somebody's going all out or not.
That's a 3rd place time right now. It's Bota, the winner of the race last year, leading over Taubitz, who finished 3rd last year, and Schulte right there in 3rd place. Lisa finished in 5th in the opening World Cup in Sigulda last season. They all are comfortable on this track.
Yeah. The thing about Lisa is that she's looking always so in control of the sled. She's looking so calm on the sled, and it looks like nothing can go wrong if you look like it's just going straight. It's in total control of the sled, which is so good to see.
One more remaining in the seeded group. It's the woman who's won the last 2 races and won them easily, Madeleine Egle. She's 2nd in the World Cup points, but she won in Innsbruck and won in Oberhof and really wasn't challenged. However, Leon, She has struggled on this track. Last year, a 14th place and an 8th place. Madeleine says she likes the track a lot. She just hasn't had any good races here.
Ooh! There goes the race.
Oh, man.
What had happened there? Ooh. At that point, yeah.
She is the fastest starter usually in the field. Could it have been just going a little too much at the start?
I don't know. I don't think that's it. I think she had some problems with settling, and that just the sled started skidding to the left side, and if you hit the short wall going into 4, that's such a big hit. That's such a big hit, even if it is at the low speed, but it just hurts so much. And then you still have to do the whole run, and you basically know it's over before it even started.
17th place. There's still an outside shot for Madeleine to make it into run number 2 as the non-seeded athletes are coming up next. But this has been the story really as she's gotten better and better and become one of the best in the world. Madeleine can blow up on a race or 2 each season.
Yeah, she's when she settled, the sled just started to skid to the left side, and she was not able to get it back online. Hit the short wall, and that, yeah, the race was basically over after the first corner, which is just sad to see because she was doing quite well this season.
Yeah, the reaction from head coach and from teammate, and a long face from Madeleine. She wants no part of being on camera at the moment, and I don't blame her. Now, the final Italian racer, Nina Zoeggeler. Is this Nina's first race this season? I believe it is.
No.
Oh, no. I'm wrong with that. She's been around all season.
Yeah.
Just really hasn't been in the discussion with a bunch of 18th and 19th place results.
Yeah, Nina's been struggling a lot with the speed. She shows us great sliding, great lines from time to time, but just struggles to find the speed. Nice transitions, nice lines, good position on the sled. Just not able to go the speed with with basically the Latvians and the leading women at this point. Yeah.
To the finish, the Italian is in 16th place. It's her teammate, Sandra Robatscher, who is still in the top 10 and in good position to make the team relay tomorrow, as Italy sits currently in 10th, 13th, and 16th place.
Yeah, once again, same kind of problem that she has been dealing with all season. Good lines, just not able to go the speed with the top women at this point. But she's, she's definitely looking to improve on that.
Showing good sportsmanship as she greets the Latvian spectators down at the bottom. Nina Zoeggeler, hoping for a run number 2. She'll have to wait and see what unfolds over the next few sleds. And I was wrong when I said the last Italian, because here is an Italian. And this time I'm going to go out on the limb, Leon. It's her first race of the year.
Yes.
Alexandra Oberstolz. Is this Christian's daughter?
Yes, yes, she is. It's her first ever World Cup, I think. First ever World Cup. I might be wrong, but I think it is. She's still very young.
17 years old.
Yeah.
Her father, Christian, is a multi-time winner, 17 World Cup victories in doubles with his teammate Gruber.
Nice position on the sled. Yeah, she's pushing it with the position. I like it.
To the finish line. Leon likes it. The time doesn't reflect great speed. There's Christian, but a 16th place time right now, or finish at the moment, for Oberstolz, and she could end up in run number 2. That would be a nice little
I think she
bonus on her first. Yeah.
And know, for the first World Cup, 16th place after the first run, I would have taken that any day, you know.
Except on a sprint weekend.
Yeah.
Then you don't want 16th place.
Yeah.
Little camera time for Alexandra Oberstolz of Team Italy. It's been great to see regular participation from the Kohala siblings. Tova and her brother Svante not only race every week, go to every race, but most of the time they qualify for the main draw.
Yeah, they've been training with the Austrian team, so they are definitely in good hands in that regard. Oh, it's like a little bump going into corner 6. Not the best lines here up top, just a little bit off, a little skids there and then. Bit of a loop. That's not what you want to have happen.
Oh yeah, too many taps.
That's always a scary thing. Hitting going into 12, that is not ideal because the sled just goes towards curve 12 and then it's going to send you mid-late into 13, and at that point you need to do some magic to make it out of there.
Tova living on the edge from top to bottom, actually lost a lot of speed down at the bottom, so was able to have cleaner lines. I love her sled manufacturer. She writes it's Santa's workshop, and that's where the most famous sled in the world is designed.
Santa or Svante's workshop?
Svante, yeah, probably Svante's workshop, who no longer has the big Santa beard.
Yeah. Maybe he'll grow it back at some point. We should try to convince him doing that. I think it looks good on him. Great position on the sled. Feet high, head low. That's what you want to see. That's what makes you go fast.
Latvia continues to lead the way. Elina Bota in first place. Her teammate Kendija Aparjode is in fourth. And here is Zana Kaluma, fresh off of her doubles race earlier this morning. The 20-year-old, one of few, in fact, the only woman doing double duty this weekend, doubles and singles.
That's not too much. Faster than what we've seen so far from the last couple of races.
Zana had a sixth-place finish in the opening World Cup race here, the first of two in Sigulda last year. That has to be her best ever.
Sixth place
on the World Cup. 14th right now. And do you get tired? I mean, you got to imagine if you've already had two races, not just the two runs in women's doubles, but the sled preparation, the stretching, the warming up. It's a long day.
It is a long day. You need to do a lot of warm-ups. I think the sled's going to be set up already the day before. So that should not be too big of a matter. But, you know, the warming up, the, you know, having a break between each run, preparing. It's just a mental stress that, you know, if you have four runs a day, 4 race runs a day, that can be a lot.
Final of the Americans and the youngest of the group, 21-year-old Emma Erickson. Emma on her first full season in the World Cup action. 2 top 20s, including as high as a 16th place at race number 2 in Innsbruck. Her goal this season is a good one, Leon. She just wants to learn as much as she can.
And she will.
It's a realistic goal.
Yes. You'll learn a lot on your first year in the World Cup. It's definitely something different compared to the juniors and the youth races.
Top 20 would be the immediate goal, and that would get her into run number 2. Line is pretty decent down here at the bottom.
Yeah, her head is up a bit much, so she's not looking too confident. Oh,
No, the speed certainly isn't there. She's in 21st place. End of the day, end of the weekend for Emma Erickson.
Yeah.
And let's just hope she learned as much as she could.
Yeah, you know, Sigulda is a tough track, especially for the younger athletes. You need to have so many runs to get confidence here in this track, especially in these ice conditions. It's so challenging just to make it down in a clean line. And then you also need to think about position, and you know, it's just too much all at once. If you're just starting out here in this track, you need a lot of experience.
Emma Erickson done for the day. 3 of her American teammates will be in run number 2. And now we move to our next Ukrainian. Elina Shtechkiv will not race today in singles. She raced earlier today in the women's doubles event. But here is Elina Shmaha, 24 years old from Lviv. Her favorite luge athlete, a good one, reigning Olympic gold medalist Johannes Ludwig. I didn't see Johannes in Oberhof. Was he there?
I didn't see him either. I haven't seen him in a long time.
He's a hero in those parts. Well, there'll be another race in Oberhof later this month.
Yeah, true. Usually he comes out to the World Cup in Winterberg, if I remember correctly. But we'll see. We'll definitely see him around at some point, I hope.
Elina has had no top 20s this year. Her best result was a 24th in Oberhof.
This seems to be a decent run from her. As I said, the Ukrainians have a lot of runs here on this track. They consider this their home track.
22nd place, that puts her about 0.2 of a second behind her young teammate, Yulianna Tunytska.
Oh, she's losing her seat.
Right now on the bubble, Tova Koala is in 20th place. Tunytska 19th.
Yeah, if she can hold on to that spot. Because the track is definitely not slowing down.
No, that's a good sign, and we saw a track record pretty late in the women's doubles competition.
No, the track is in incredible shape. The weather is great, the temperatures are good, the shapes are good, so it's definitely holding up.
Kendija Aparjode of Poland did not compete last year in the World Cup here. She has been a regular this season. Poland trying to rebuild its women's singles program. And Kendija has been really the face of Poland women's luge singles over the last 2 or 3 seasons since the retirements of Eva Kuls and Wojciech.
Yeah, women's singles is definitely one of the hardest disciplines to build a program in, because the depth of high quality athletes is just so high. To make it into the top 20, you need to be on good equipment and be a very good slider.
About a half second back, lines are good, speed isn't quite there. Let's see how this shakes up. Potential top 20, 21st place. So Kohala remains on the bubble in 20th. All things considered, a pretty good run for Domorodska.
Yeah.
Stayed out of trouble, at least.
Just missed the qualification of the second run. She would definitely was hoping for. But decent lines. I'm surprised that we see that many good lines, actually, because we've seen so many people struggle on the double sled. It's much better here in women's singles.
Now getting the call for the second time this season in the main World Cup draw. This is Team Ireland's Elsa Desmond. Part-time luger, part-time doctor, also has her paragliding license. And Elsa's favorite all-time luge athlete is Erin Hamlin, the American Olympic bronze medalist, perhaps watching the race early this morning from her home in Remsen, New York.
Elsa told me that Sigulda is her favorite track, so she will show us some good lines here, I think.
Right. She made the World Cup both weekends last year as well, with a 25th place and a 24th place finish.
Yeah, see, that's what I meant before, because here with good lines you can do a lot, even if you're on, you know, not great equipment, let's say it like that. But if you have good lines, you can have a great result still.
Her line into 15 was terrific. She struggled a little bit out of 15 through the finish Kreisel. 24th place right now, so that's about where she was last year. She will not have a run number 2. And Elsa, of course, will not be part of the team relay, as she is the one and only Irish World Cup luger.
For now.
For now, she's got a young protege. She actually brought over to the Youth Olympic Games last year in South Korea.
Yeah. Yeah, Elsa is doing a lot of work in Ireland too, starting to build a program, which is just great to see, because we're in need of nations and, you know, yeah, just nations that love the sport basically and start to build the program.
Nothing she needs to say, because she says it all behind the microphone at the other races.
Yeah,
now Peishan Wang, the first of 2 from China in today's race. This is starter number 26 out of 30 for the 24-year-old. She finished 29th at the Olympic Games on her home track. So it'll be interesting at the end of the season when we go back to Beijing. The Chinese team has been very committed, Leon. So maybe a top 20 result here and there could be had by this still developing program.
Yeah, definitely. Oh. She did a phenomenal job in correcting that. Because that's usually what sends you over, but she was just steering hard enough that the sled started skidding, so she was able to cut the pressure still. It's obviously not ideal for the time, but it's ideal for making it down.
25th place for Peishan Wang. That matches her season's best. She also had a 25th at the opening race in Lillehammer. No run number 2, and with just a couple of remaining, a handful or so, Tova Koala continues to hang on to that position, place number 20.
She was struggling a bit in the midsection of the track, which is very challenging here. We can also see just skidding out of 14, but not hitting the wall. Oh, she hit the wall then, going to 15. Yeah, not an ideal run. But she did a very good job at correcting it and making it down to the finish line safe.
Okay, 4 remaining. And here's the Romanian, Corina Buizatoy. Top 20 will be a long shot for this athlete, whose best result this year was a 24th place in Austria. Romania will not take part tomorrow in team relay, as the women's doubles team did not enter into the Latvian races this weekend.
Do you know the reason why Raluca is not sliding?
Elsa said something earlier when we were talking. It was Raluca, and I don't think there was anything major that happened. I'll try to find that out.
Oh, that's not good. We're gonna have a crash here. Yeah, there's no way you can. Yeah.
She's totally fine, hanging onto the sled. In theory, she could get back on this sled and cross the finish line. It really doesn't matter at this point, because she will not qualify for the second run, and now she's lost all of her speed. Leon, as we take another look, how did you know that was going to happen so early?
Well, if you go into corner 12 too early, then you have no height, so you will have a late entrance into corner 13, which is the corner where you have 2 pressure points. And if you go late in, you have no chance of steering the sled, and that just sends you up, down, and right back up at the end, and you will be on your stomach going through 14. Here we can, yeah, just, yeah, very late into 13, and at that point you know already, yeah, let's just prepare for the crash. here you can see right back up at the end. Hope that she's okay. Yeah, that's, you know, and then you go right into corner 14 on your stomach, and let me tell you, this is not a nice crash. This will hurt a lot because you go right into the next corner and the pressure hits you going on your stomach, so you will have a lot of bruises from that crash. But it looks like she's been able to control the sled right afterwards, which is good, and looks like she's not hurt. Just some bruises, but yeah, nothing major, I hope.
Yeah, disappointed. Let's hope that's the worst of her problems right now for Karina Buzatoy. Now we have an athlete so young that we have no biographical information about Margita Sersnia, or Sersnina rather. She's just 16 years old, the youngest competitor competing this weekend in any of the races. Not even the Latvian Luge website has anything on her other than a photo. So she'll try to create her own story now.
Yeah. The stage is yours, so to say, right?
That's exactly right. I mean, top 20 could happen. She's on her home track. She spent all season here while everyone else was sliding around the world.
Yeah, just a little bit off. A bit too many skids, I think, to make it into the top 20.
It's going to be tight, though. She was 5/10 back. She needs to be within 7/10, and she does. 20th place. So she knocks Tova Kohala out of the race, and she sits on the bubble with a couple of remaining. Margita Sersnina, which at least Leon will give us a little extra time to find out more about her.
Yes. But she definitely has some more time in this run. Already here at the start, it was not ideal. Here we can see the sled just starting to skid. And there were a couple of more skids in the run. So she has some time to make up, which is exciting for her. And that here on home ice, and she will be very exciting to have a second run.
As I said, while everyone else was slogging around Europe, she was right here in Latvia, taking run after run on a track, and got to know it well. Competitor number 29 now, the second from China of 3. This is Langqing Zhu, 20 years old, from Beijing. This is the first race this season that she's qualified, and she has trouble already.
Yeah, you can see it at the start. She was on the left side going into the start corner, which is, you want to be on the right side to make it nice and smooth into the first corner. And if you go in that late, it's just, the angle is just not ideal, and that will send you up and down, and you will start skidding in the first few corners.
No speed down here, as just a point of comparison. Her speed of 68 miles per hour is, I believe, the second slowest of the race. Applause for a safe finish and another World Cup experience.
Yeah. That's just a lot of time that is lost here. You can see she was already on the left side, and then the angle going into the first corner is just too, yeah, just not ideal. And then a big skid here in the first few corners, and that takes away so much of your time and so much speed.
What's amazing, Leon, if people watch the sliding sports, you know that in skeleton and bobsled you have a groove cut into the ice at the start.
Must be
a
nice.
little easier to keep that sled there.
Yeah.
A luger has to rely strictly on your own balance.
Yes.
And your paddling, and to make sure you can negotiate what is not too wide a track with a corner lurking after a few meters. Now, number 30, Hulian Hu, to complete run number 1. Hulian's best result this year was a 24th place at the race in Lillehammer.
Yeah, kind of the similar problems that her teammate had. Also a bit wobbly at the start, then Not the best saddle that we've seen, and just skids at the top. But it's easier said than done. It going straight in the start takes a lot of practice. Let me tell you this, because I struggled myself for so many years just to go straight on the start.
Closing out run number 1, the third of 3 from the nation of China. Back in 26th place.
You know, other than the mess at the start, the run was decent.
What is the secret, Leon? I mentioned balance and paddling, but there have got to be a few tricks, right?
Yeah, you need to have a lot of stability. You know, you see the movement with your upper body, which is not ideal, because we don't have the grooves, and you want to be as stable as you can with the upper body. Just you have your hands moving, and you need to be able to make corrections. You know, pull a bit more with the right hand if you want to go to the left side, and things like that. So it takes a lot of time, and especially on race day, when you go all out, can be challenging to correct then the lines.
30 have made it down, 1 crashed, and alarmingly the slowest time of those 30 was Madeleine Egle, the 2-time winner of the Tour this year from Austria, as she had huge problems at the start. But it is Elina Bota coming off of a victory at the World Cup here in Sigulda to end last year. She leads, but the margins are tight over Taubitz and Schulte, who are the top 2 in the World Cup standings now. Kendija Aparjode looking for a breakout performance. The Americans are certainly in the hunt in the top 10. And look at that, back in 20th place, Margita Czernina from Latvia, a 16-year-old in her first ever World Cup race. Meantime, there in 29th place, the surprise of run number 1, Madeleine Egle, while 21st, a heartbreaking spot for Sweden's Tova Koala, just out of run number 2. So Leon, how do you see this unfolding? Will Elina be the one to beat?
Well, it looks like it. It looks like it. She's been showing us a great line as we expect, because she had so many runs here in this track. Yeah, we will see.
She's got two tough athletes chasing her.
Yeah,
Taubitz and Schulte.
But it looks like the Latvians have been doing a great job at setting up the sled, as they built lots of speed at the bottom of the track. So it will definitely see how the weather plays out, because we saw that the track slowed up a bit for the double second run, and we'll see if that happens as well here for this race. So yeah, it's gonna be exciting. And you know, here in Sigulda, anything can happen. It's one mistake and then you're on your stomach, basically. So don't miss it. Don't miss the second run.
Very well put. Second run coming up, women's singles to decide the winner here in Sigulda. It's just about 22 minutes away. Leon and I will be back here for the call of run number 2.